Katherine Dunham, Dr. Katherine Dunham celebration. What is your name?
I'm known as Dr. Albirda Rose.
Dr. Rhodes, what would be one of the most important things that you discovered loving Dr. Dunham as you have that you would like to share with us?
Well, I think the main thing is that the continuation of her legacy. And the legacy is such that it has to be continued by all those people that she touched that are willing to do the work. So we got Carolyn Lloyd here in Atlanta. We got the Dunham Centers, which is fighting for their life in East St. Louis, where her museum is, which was a repository of a lot of her travels and showed her the costumes of her husband, Mr. Pratt. The children's workshop is there. And I don't know how, but that part of the entity needs saving financially. My work with Ms. Dunham started as a coordinator for the Dunham Technique Seminar in 1984 was the first one, and I worked with her up until the time she died. I came out of the coordinator position, I think it was 1994, but during that time there were three objectives we had in working on the seminar, and that was to bring people together from all over the world who had studied Dunham, and we were able to do that. Two was to codify, continue codification of the technique with people from different parts of the country that called certain exercises different things, from like fall and recovery to drop and recovery. And we brought the masters, teachers together who were the company members, and we dealt with a lot of that. We were able to do seminars where Ms. Dunham talked about her research, talked about, you know, she was a humanitarian, she was a writer, she was an anthropologist, she was a dancer, choreographer. So, you know, those things were always touched upon in the seminar, not just the dance aspect, but we had lecture classes, we had theory and practice classes, we had repertory classes. Some of that has gone away because, again, financial stability. And the third thing, so the book that I was working came out in 1990, and that was on the codification of the technique, and that was done with people throughout the seminar. The last thing was to train Dunham instructors, and not just because they were fabulous dancers. They had to be, most of our instructors are fabulous dancers, but based on the schools that she had and what she did at Southern Illinois University with PA, the Performing Arts Training Center, when I started to help design the Institute for Dunham Technique Certification and try to get people certified. So I was like a go-between those people who have been attending the seminar for 10 years, the master teachers, and Ms. Dunham, and she gave me permission to go ahead and pull 10 people together that she had been watching for those 10 years. At least the 10 were invited, not all of them attended at that time, but they were sent through, I was overseeing it, and we came together for a week. We taught each other. We talked about not just the technique, but the philosophy and the methodology in which she had used throughout her career. So we talked about detachment, we talked about self-examination, self-knowledge, you know, and the philosophical concept of it, and then the methodologies that she used, which was based on the anthropological parts, where she went and studied the culture, studied the people, wrote about the people, and then she didn't just, you know, the difference between her and Primus was she didn't just pick up the stuff and show it the way she learned it. She would pick it up and create. So she became, and Miss Primus told me that one time. That was the difference between them. So I think what we need to do now is bring all those entities together to work to maintain this legacy. We got to train the excellent teachers. We got to continue doing that, and we got to teach them so that they go back and do the history. So why did she go to Haiti? What was it about Haiti? Why did she go to Martinique? Why did she go to Africa? Why did she go to Brazil? I went with her on return of a 40th year Fulbright celebration. She was in Brazil for a month, and I accompanied her in Brazil as a demonstrator. And the cultural context of what she had did performing in the 50s in that country had had a strong impact on how dancers and choreographers were doing their work. So I think that's another aspect that we have to maintain.
How can you be contacted?
My email address is Rose, ROSEHARDT, Rosehart at sbcglobal.net. I'm a retired professor from San Francisco State University, so I did my 38 years at the university and my 30 years with Miss Dunham. So, I just turned over the reins of the Institute to Penny Gaboldo, who you were speaking to, and Patricia. Finally got the bylaws together. Now they're trying to get their own nonprofit. I had them under another umbrella. It's time for them to move on, and we got some what I call the youngins coming up. Some of them we watched train from the time they were 5 under Miss Dunham and Ruby Street, who was the director of the Children's Museum group. And those young ladies now, one already have her master's, one is involved in professional dancing. It's 2 of them. And then we got some others around the country that I think will maintain the legacy and make it grow even bigger.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.